one thing I've got to say about John Fury, no matter what, he'll always speak the truth.
Pro boxing fans here in Bournemouth. It's Saturday, weighing day. It's Christmas. Johnny, you're gonna get that beard colour soon, mate. You know what I mean? Just it's getting there. It's salt and pepper right now. How's things? How's life?
It's good. Loving Bournemouth. Always like Bournemouth. You never know. I might end up being a resident in Bournemouth.
Can't take the northern out, Johnny. I'm telling you, doesn't matter how much money they give you, Johnny, you're going to still end up back where you are in Yorkshire.
You're right. I ain't moving anywhere.
Let's talk about why we're here. Spoke to Chris Billam-Smith yesterday and Shane McGuigan and asked them both, is this a potential banana skin? We know about Masternak, we know about his fight with Bellew in 2015, and we know that he's an experienced, rugged opponent. Do you feel like there's any chance of this being a banana skin on Sunday night?
Yes, there's every chance of it being a banana skin. There's more chance of it being a banana skin than in Chris's favour, and I want Chris to win. When I saw this fight, man, I'm like, are you for real? His first defence? So, and because Chris he's a new world champion. He's got to be a champion. He's got to be the guy that believes in who he is and believes his position. And he's not had time for that yet. He was in a hard fight with Lawrence Okoye to pick up the title. So you need a bit of time to just say, yeah, I'm the man. At least one defence. You know, Masternak's the guy that people avoid. You only box him if you have to box him. Masternak's the guy that heavyweights use as a sparring partner, and he doesn't get the sack after a couple of days. He's there the whole duration. So it shows he's tough, it shows he's strong. I think looking at the size of him, obviously his up close work is good. He's a better offensive fighter than he is a defensive fighter. So Chris has got to keep him on the back foot, keep him and be sharp and be smart and be wary if he keeps on the back foot.
In regards to the other fighters in the division, and I spoke to Jaya Pataya, I spoke to Richard Riakma in the last 2 weeks. They both seem to be eyeing up Chris. Richard's saying, "Listen, Chris is the man at the moment, right?"
Listen, Chris, out of all the champions, they're looking, thinking he's the weakest link. He's a guy that if there's an opportunity to win a world title, it's against him, because they're looking at Chris because they think he's probably the most naive out of all of them. They're looking at Chris thinking, "I'll beat him." Chris is like a cruiserweight version of Vitaly Klitschko. The boy's strong. The boy will put it on you. But the boy ain't giving up, and he's got that mentality, that winner's mentality. It'll drive. You've got to nail him to keep him on the floor. So that's why Masternak's going crazy, thinking, "Yes, you give me this opportunity against him." You know, good shout by Chris's team for picking this. If it turns out, and the same way I'm thinking Masternak wins is the same way I've got to lift up Chris to say, "Well done." Because this is the hardest opponent you've ever boxed, the most experienced opponent you've ever boxed. This guy's had more fights than you've had knockouts. No, my guy's had more knockouts than you've had fights. So you've got to lift him and give him the credit where credit's due. The public won't realise how much of a good win it is.
In regards to sort of Chris and everyone else, like I said, I spoke to Jaya Pataya. There seems to be a situation with Jaya at the moment that the IBF saying, "Listen, you've got to fight someone credible." Elizoro doesn't cut it, yeah. So if you fight him on December 23rd, we're going to strip you of the title. Do you feel like, he's going to carry on with that, because it's, the Saudi temptation?
The IBF won't do shit. They won't move. They'll let him keep it. Apatai's a good fighter, and he's a fighter that's probably good to represent a governing body. They ain't going to do shit. They'll threaten him. They'll say, "You've got to fight X, Y, Z next." But they ain't going to do nothing.
I'm going to quickly just move away and talk about other boxing before you need to go and do your Sky stuff. I do want to talk about, obviously there's been a lot of talk about yourself and Tyson Fury and things that you've said in the past, but something that John Fury has alluded to in the last couple of weeks is possibly the decline of Tyson Fury. He's saying that, listen, ability-wise, Tyson may not have declined, but power, conditioning, we might start seeing, or we have seen a decline in Tyson Fury. Are you starting to see that now? Are you starting to see that at 35 years old, you're naturally, as an athlete, going to decline?
How comes I got roasted when I said more or less the same thing the last time? Was that more or less the same thing? I said, look, this is it. And it's time. You can't do nothing about that. And it might not be a popular thing to say, but you say, if his own pops is saying it, and one thing I've got to say about John Fury, no matter what, he'll always speak the truth, or he'll avoid answering the question, because he don't want to look stupid. He's got a big ego. So there's no, and John Fury he's a straight talking man. He ain't fooling you. You know, he'll play the game, but if you ask him a question, you ask him about his professional knowledge, intelligence, he don't want to seem to be stupid. So if he's saying that, you've got to listen to what this man's saying. But you've got to also understand the Tyson Fury that's around still beats everybody if he puts his shit together. And after his last performance, if he's honest about what he said, then his legs have gone. If he's not honest, which I don't think he was honest about what he said, I think Tyson Fury can turn it around and put it back in. If he doesn't fight on the 17th of February, then we have a problem, because his manager said he's boxing December 23rd, no matter what, that's moved to February. Then it moves to, now it's to February. If he doesn't box in February, why is he not boxing in February? You know, and this is the problem. So that you've got to speak to his management and say, well, you said this, you said that, now what? You know, what's going on?
Why do you say that? Why do you think that there's a chance that why you won't fight February 17th?
Because if his dad's saying this stuff now, it gives you a sense that there might be a delay because he needs more time. It's Christmas, you've got kids. You know, nobody wants to fight just after Christmas because it takes your Christmas away, especially if you've got kids. So I wouldn't be surprised if they want to push it down the line a little bit. It wouldn't be surprising me at all.
Do you want to talk about the whole situation? We've talked about this for the last 12 months at least, is the whole Conor Benn Eubank situation. It seems like Chris Eubank Jr. might not be going ahead with this fight. I think Eddie sort of called it out and said, you've said it before, but Eddie sort of called it out and said, listen, Chris Eubank needs to sign, and obviously there's the implication that the British Boxing Board of Control have rejected Conor's application. What do you make of this scenario in regards to the whole Conor Benn situation, the next step or the next chapter in it?
I'll tell everybody that asked me about it. Not at one point have I thrown Conor Benn under the bus. He's had 2 failed drug tests. So Conor Benn has to prove them wrong. And if he can't, take your licks. He's going to be 40 years old, he'll look back and he'll realise he wasted 2 valuable years out of his career. Because when you mention to Conor Benn, you mention failed drug tests. If you want to be talking Conor Benn and you want to talk all the elite fighters, you want to mention all the elite fighters around the world in the next sentence. But instead you mention Conor Benn, you talk about failed drug tests. This is now dominating his career. The kid's a good fighter. And people say, yeah, but Johnny took drugs. Yeah, he took drugs. Drugs don't make you a better fighter. They might make you stronger, might make you faster, but they don't make you a more intelligent fighter. Conor's a good fighter. You know, and I've always been a fan of Conor's fight. If he failed 2 drug tests, for whatever reason, he's got to have a take his licks and get on with his career so people forget about this instead of constantly harping about the failed drug test. Or, you know, it's not common sense. Otherwise his life's going to be filled with regret, thinking a waste of such valuable time. Right now he might be pissed off with me for not saying, I believe you, Conor, I believe you. He might right now, but you know when he's a grown-ass man, he'll come back and say, you know what, you're right on that. And I know he will. You know, I like the kid, you know, and the thing is, the problem is this, and the only name you're talking about is Conor Benn. So if Conor Benn did cheat, like you're saying he cheated, why is nobody else's name being thrown out there?
Carl Froch has done a little piece on his YouTube, and he said, listen, it's as simple as him just going to have this hearing, sit in front of the British Boxing Board of Control and just let it out. It seems that obviously that's a stumbling block in regards to the sort of case still being open.
He says he has evidence to prove his innocence. Why tell people? Why tell you or me or anybody else? Why tell Simon Jordan? Go to the board, say, there's my evidence, I want to get on with my career. It's foolishness. It's foolishness. Come on, don't say I ain't showing you now because you said this. It's foolishness. Get on with your career. Your career is more important than what's going on right now. So if you want to get on career, take your licks. Take the ban. If you had a 2-year ban, it'd be a year into it now. So say, for instance, he goes to the board and say, all right then, okay, you know what, I disagree with you, but give me the ban. I want to box again. They'll say, right, we've decided to give you an 18-month ban, a 2-year ban. You've already yet served a year, as far as we're concerned. You know, he could do this. I don't know how it could turn out, but at the end of the day, the facts are the facts. That's just how it is.
Do you want to quickly talk about December 23rd and the 2 main fighters, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua? Deontay Wilder did a little piece with Brian Custer in America, and in that he said, listen, age is a manufactured champion. He was a born champion. Deontay Wilder's a born champion. He said because they had to sell Anthony Joshua, train him out to be what he is. He goes, I've never had to do that. They've had to compete, show that they sold out arenas and stuff. What do you make of that talk by Deontay Wilder?
Rubbish. I was out in New York and we were outside when AJ boxed out there and lost to Andy Ruiz before. And we were doing like a little jokey Paul thing. Americans were walking past. Do you know who Deontay Wilder is? No. Do you know who Anthony Joshua is? Yes. You understand? So whatever they did, it worked. That was the whole thing. If Deontay's saying, I'm the natural fighter, he is. Because he's not the better boxer, but he's the better banger. And I've seen him turn fights around that he's losing. I think how he conducted himself at the presser, he was commendable. To me, rose in my estimation. I think the time also has done you a right favour. It's done you a massive favour in regards to, you now become humble. You're thinking, you know what? Oh, I get it. He was the most respectful one up there. He was the one that stood out to me. Gerald Miller, come across as foolishness. I think AJ came across angry, spiky, but Wilder, he was the one that impressed me the most.
Finally, before I let you go, December 23rd, the two fights, Otto Wallin and AJ and Parker versus Wilder. Any of them banana skins for either guy?
No, you'd think that, but no, I don't believe that. And if AJ loses to Wallin, he should jack in. He should win this fight. That's a given. Wilder, if Wilder's the fighter he is, he deals with Parker eventually. But Parker's a better boxer, so Parker's got to stay tight and not let some man land a shot on him. We've seen, but Wilder has that ability.
Cool, Johnny, I'm going to let you go. I think you're going to start rolling on Sky right now. Thank you so much. Looking good in your little Christmas top there. But yeah, we'll catch up soon, mate. We'll catch up tomorrow night after the fight. Top man, take care. Johnny Nelson, top man.